What's up everyone, Emerald here from Emerald's Daily Carry, and today I'm going to be breaking down everything that I packed for a 3-week trip through Hawaii, Japan, and Korea, all in a single carry-on backpack. We're talking temperatures from the mid-80s to the low 40s, so packing smart was really key. I'll walk through exactly what I brought, what I wish that I brought, what I could have left behind, and maybe even a little surprise at the end, because of course I did not come home empty-handed. If you're new here, welcome. On this channel, we like to talk about backpacks, sling bags, and everything in between because we believe that everything in life is between you and the perfect bag. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the gear, gadgets, and packing strategies that can level up your travel game, and hopefully you can find some inspiration for your upcoming trip. But before we continue, you know the drill. Make sure you like, you subscribe, you smash that notification bell so that you don't miss any more Emerald's Daily Carry goodness. And without further ado, you better buckle up because this one's gonna be a long one. Before we dive into what I packed, let's talk about the itinerary because what you bring really depends entirely on where you're going. For this trip, we spent 3 weeks traveling from October 26th through November 16th, 2024. We started out with 1 week in Honolulu, Hawaii, where we visited family and enjoyed the beach. Then we flew to Korea for a short layover before doing 4 days in Osaka, Japan, where we focused on bag hunting, shopping, and of course, eating. And finally, we wrapped up the trip with a week and a half in Korea to see even more family. Since this trip covered such a wide range of activities, I had to pack for multiple scenarios. I needed swimmer for the beach. I needed comfortable slip-on shoes for lots of walking, nicer outfits for dining out, warmer clothes for chilly nights, and tech gear for work. That's a lot to fit in just one bag. So why did I choose to go carry-on only? The main reason was that we were constantly on the move. Throughout the trip, we stayed at 7 different accommodations and took 5 different flights, which meant that we were packing and unpacking almost every other day. We moved through hotels, houses, apartments, planes, trains, buses, and cars, so having a bulky suitcase would have been a huge hassle. On travel days, we also did a lot of walking, especially when we were going from the airport to a hotel or switching between Airbnbs. By sticking to just one carry-on, I had fewer things to keep track of, less weight to carry, and fewer packing headaches. Most importantly, it meant that I could focus on enjoying time with my family instead of stressing out about my luggage. So, what was this magical do-it-all bag that I trusted for this trip? Glad you asked. Let's talk about it. All right, let's talk about the bag, which is the Peak Design 45-liter travel bag. Now this isn't something brand new, cutting edge release in the one bag travel world, but I specifically brought it for this trip because it had a few features that I thought might come in handy, especially since I had no idea what I was gonna be doing half the time. Because here's the thing, when you're traveling with family, anything goes. You wake up thinking you're just gonna grab some lunch, and next thing you know, it's 6 o'clock and you're at a bowling alley with your cousins. How did we get here? Nobody knows. So why did I choose this bag? What really sold me on the Peak Design 45-liter was the expansive volume because I wanted flexibility, the stowaway hip belt, because for me, I needed a little bit extra support, but I wanted it to be clean. I really liked the big bucket style main compartment with minimal organization because sometimes you just need a big old space to shove your stuff in. And it was actually comfortable enough for those long custom lines, which by the way, the longest one that I stood in was over an hour, so I definitely got to fully test out the comfort of this thing. Now let's talk about the bags inside my bag because of course I packed bags inside my bag. So first up, I brought the Chimera 6-liter sling. I brought it mostly because, well, I really liked the way that it looked, but also it was the perfect bag for holding my airplane essentials while my Peak Design bag was chilling in the overhead bin. It was also big enough for those out all day excursions. Since coming back from the trip, I actually sold my Chimera, so I'll do my best to describe how I packed it out, but there is a lot of Chimera content on this channel, so if you are interested in learning more, you can go check that out. Then I also brought the Lulu Everywhere belt bag. I brought this one because it was a little bit less outdoorsy looking and I could dress it up for family dinners. Also, it's super tiny, so it barely took up any space while I wasn't using it. And it worked really great as a pocket reliever for those shorter outings. And finally, my biggest regret, I did bring an extra duffel with me, and not even a packable duffel at that. I brought the REI duffel bag 40-liter. I've had this for a couple of years. Did I need it? No. Did I bring it anyway? Yeah. Why? Because I was a little scared I wasn't gonna have enough room for souvenirs, and guess what? I didn't even use it, like at all. And it's huge, obviously, as you can see, so lesson learned. So before we move on, just a quick note, this is not a review of these bags. If you are looking for full reviews, they should be somewhere on the channel if I ever get around to it. But as you know, I'm very slow, so patience is key. Now for the fun part, I'm gonna lay out all the stuff that I took with me, and then I'm gonna repack it all inside of the Peak Design bag. Okay, so this is all the clothes that I brought on a 3-week trip. Starting over here, I have 7 underwear, 2 merino wool socks, 1 beanie. I also brought this pink hat, a reusable towel, a 1-piece bathing suit. I brought 3 pairs of pants. I have 1 nicer pants for going out to dinner, an activewear sweatpants kind of thing, and then a little bit more of like a casual pants. 1 pair of shorts, 3 shirts, 1 tank top, an Arc'teryx Atom jacket, so that's like my insulation layer, and then I had like a nicer white pullover, kind of like big shirt jacket. And this is all of the electronics that I ended up bringing on my trip. And honestly, this is a little bit too much for me. The only reason why I brought my laptop at all was because I was gonna do some editing for this channel on the trip, which I ended up doing. But if I wasn't doing that, I would probably only bring my iPad on this trip because this thing is like 4 pounds. So not only is it huge, but it also is very heavy. But anyway, I brought a laptop, I brought my SSD so that I could work, a mouse. I brought a sandwich bag, which kind of fit all of my cords and stuff. I have a little extension cord. This thing is really cool. It's a short one, but you know, it has 3 prongs in it. We went to Korea, so I had to bring an adapter for that. I kind of like these ones better than the giant brick ones where it has all of the adapters in it. The only reason why you would bring that instead of this is if you're gonna do multi-country trips where you need all of those, but since I only needed 1, this is a lot smaller and a lot lighter than bringing one of those bricks. I brought my GAN charger, 2 Thunderbolt cables. I needed 1 for charging my computer and then 1 for my SSD. And I have an A to C cable, which was for my power bank. I brought my noise canceling headphones, which was really great for the plane, my Kindle, my DJI Osmo kit. So I'm actually using the Osmo right now as my overhead cam, but I did bring this case with it as well. And that's pretty much it for my electronics case. I was able to fit basically almost everything besides my mouse inside of this sandwich bag. And then I had my Kindle, my power bank, and my headphones either in my Chimera or in the sling that I was bringing if I was using it. And here's all the miscellaneous stuff that I brought. I brought 2 pairs of shoes, I brought a pair of boots, and then a pair of slippers. I would normally not even really wear a pair of slippers on a trip, but because we were gonna go to the beach, obviously I'm not wearing boots to the beach. I picked up these just because they were so thin, so they're not gonna take up any space in my bag. And it was also nice to have them in Asia when I needed to go to the public restroom or anything like that to do like a shower. I had to bring tit covers because some of the shirts that I brought were a little sheer and you know, nobody wants to see nipples, so I had to bring that. Packable tote, neck pillow, my passport. I brought a little bit of medicine, so I have some Midol, some Advil, and some Tums. My eye mask, I brought my eyeglasses case with an extra pair of glasses. My packable water bottle, I brought some elastic bands to help stretch because I have a really bad upper back that I have to stretch out. Same with this tennis ball, it's good for stretching out my feet or my legs. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my miscellaneous stuff. And here are all the toiletries that I ended up bringing. Starting at the top, this is all the stuff that I needed to bring because at the time, and still at this current moment, I am wearing a retainer to straighten my teeth. So I needed to bring 3 sets of my retainer, the rubber bands, something to clean my teeth with, and then a case for it. So if I didn't have to bring that, man, my whole kit would be like half the size. I had to bring my toothbrush. I have it in a specific case. I brought some detergent sheets because I knew that we had to do laundry. So I brought 4, so we would do laundry like once a week. I brought this bug bite thing. I saw it on Shark Tank. It actually works really well, but I was very paranoid about specifically going to Hawaii because especially when I was growing up, I would get attacked by mosquitoes. And this essentially just, I don't know what it does, it's magic, but it takes out the whatever that's in the mosquito bite that makes it itch. So I brought this just in case, and I was like, oh, it's kind of small, you know, it doesn't really take up that much space, so a why not kind of thing. I needed to bring some pills. I have my deodorant. I have a cleanser, a moisturizer. This is more for like a hydration thing. And then I had one of these be a toner. I also needed to bring stuff for my contacts because we were gonna go swimming and snorkeling and stuff. I obviously wanted to go look at the fish. And for me to do that, I have to wear contacts. So I had to bring this. I had to bring eye drops. And then I also had to bring contact contact solution, which was what this was. I brought 2 masks because I didn't know if maybe I needed to clean my face a little bit more than what this regular routine is. I brought my sunscreen. I brought a lip scrub, which is just for like getting all the dead skin off of your lips, a razor, tweezers, a nail clipper. Unfortunately, I was on my period at the time, so I had to bring all this stuff. I've gone on so many trips where I forget to bring pads, and just to buy the amount of pads that I need from like a grocery store or like a pharmacy, you know, it's like $7 or $10 for like this much. And I was just like, no, never again. So I just kind of have extra in my bag just in case I forget to pack it, because they're not really that big. They don't take up that much space. They're very squishy, but I hate that I have to bring them. If you're not a girl, then you don't have to deal with this part. And then I brought special shampoo because I have a little bit of a dry scalp, so I knew that I couldn't get this shampoo anywhere else. And then finally, I have the bag that I put pretty much all this stuff in, except for my retainer stuff and this toothbrush. All right, so now that we got over all of the things that were in my bag, I'm going to pack all of the stuff inside of the Peak Design bag. Let's go. Okay, so for my toiletries, it's really just gonna be the really loose items that are gonna go inside of this bag. And then I had this and my retainer stuff kind of compartmentalized into other parts of the Peak Design bag. And since there's like no organization in here, it's just a dump pocket. You know, this is just really good for, obviously it's very lightweight, but you're not gonna get any of that organization. So pros and cons to everything. I didn't have any issues with this bag. I just kind of dumped everything out on the counter and then found what I needed and then put it all back. So, you know, if you want a little bit more organization, this isn't gonna be the thing. But as far as like how much stuff I'm able to fit in here because there is no compartmentalization is kind of impressive. So I think that that trade-off is a little bit worth it to me. Cool. And that's it. So I like kind of shake it out a little bit to try to get it to be a little bit flatter, but as you can see, I was able to fit like quite a bit of stuff in this bag and there's still room to spare. Okay, so as far as clothing goes, this is what I wore on the plane. It's always nice to be able to wear your really bulky stuff on the plane because it takes up so much space in your luggage. Thankfully, both of these jackets are pretty light. This one is a little bit more insulating, but it does have nice gussets on the side to kind of get the air out of there. So what I ended up doing was I used one as a blanket for my legs and then I used one as like an actual jacket. So I run really cold, so I didn't have a hard time with double layering on my jackets, but I had 2 jackets on and then my regular shirt, pants, underwear, socks. And then I wore my thicker socks with my boots. Okay, and this is all the other clothes that I ended up bringing. I was able to fit all of this into one Peak Design packing cube, so I'll show you that now. So one of the really awesome features of this packing cube is that it's compressible. So I like to have the compression zipper open. I fill it all up and then I zip the compression inside of itself. So I try to keep all of my flatter items at the bottom, which would be my shirts in this case, and then my pants. And I'm just trying to like make every layer as flat as possible. I don't want all those lumps around in there. So my underwear, I just kind of try to make them again as flat as possible. And then my hat. Zip that up. So even with all of this in here, there's a little bit of room, as you can see, especially on the sides. So when I compress this down, I like to shake it a little bit just so that some of those empty holes can kind of get filled. So as you can see right now, it's a little bit too tall. So I'm just gonna shake it, you know, like shake it like a salad basically, and try to get some of that clothing to reorient itself inside of the packing cube. And sometimes if it doesn't work, like right now it's not really doing it, I might just move some of this stuff, like my underwear, for example, and move it onto the side to try to keep this shape a little bit flatter. Cool, and that's pretty flat to me. So the next thing that we're gonna pack is our electronics pouch. So for this to work, I kind of need to finagle it in a very specific way. That is one of the downsides when you are trying to pack minimally, is sometimes you're just gonna have to deal with a little bit more finagling. to get your stuff in the tiny space that you're trying to use. This all fits, but I have to put it in a very specific way in order for it to work. And honestly, just because I value space saving so much, I am okay with doing this. If you're not, that just means that obviously get a bigger pouch that has a little bit more organization, but it is gonna be bigger. Cool. And that all fits. What I really like about this bag is that it's see-through, so I know if I have all the things, especially if I have tiny things like my SSD and this little dongle that I have to keep track of. The other thing that's really awesome is that once I'm at my destination, I don't really need to use this pouch for my electronics. It's really just to transport them from place to place, so I have everything in one place. But once I'm in my accommodations and I'm just hanging out and traveling, I can use this for almost anything. It's a food grade bag, so if I have leftovers, I can put it in there. It's microwave safe, it's freezer safe. So it's a super versatile thing that you can buy, costs almost nothing, and you can use it even when you're not traveling. So there you go. All right, so I think we're at the point where we can actually start packing our bag. So here it is. One of the really awesome things that I like about this bag is that it is a bucket style type of packing. So it's just an open space that you can fit a lot of stuff in. So let's start over here, because once I start packing out this compartment, I'm not gonna get access to these two zippers until the very end. I'm gonna pack some of it right now, which includes all of these pads. So I try to put them here in this pocket. Next is all of my clothes in the Peak Design packing cube. I have my slippers in the shoe pouch that I think I can fit on the side here. And then I have this nice cavernous space for pretty much everything else. So kind of sometimes it takes a little bit of finagling, but essentially I'm just trying to optimize the space. It's not really about how easily accessible all of this stuff is, because I have my sling bag for that. It's really mostly about how can I fit all of this stuff as tightly as humanly possible. Sometimes I have to redo some stuff, but this is kind of the part that I really like. I kind of like Tetrising a little bit. If that's not your vibe, then this is not the type of packing style that you definitely want. You want a bag that has a little bit more organization than this. So I think that's pretty much it. I think the only other thing is my laptop and my duffel bag. Oh man, this thing is so big. What a big regret bringing this with me. This was my life every time. It's kind of shocking actually that it even fits at all. And I know that it looks like it's busting at the seams, but don't you worry, fam. We're gonna fix that really soon. And thankfully, this bag has really awesome zippers, so you can just whip it and rip it with all of this. I never had a problem with that, which is really great. Okay, so as you can see, the way that this bag is constructed is you can actually fit a lot more stuff on the sides. And so for me to have this button stuff like clapped in, I just packed it normally, and then I just like bang it on the table a little bit to kind of get all of the stuff to kind of start like reducing all of the air gaps in between so that I can start buttoning this part. So let me just demonstrate that. So as you can see, like all of the stuff started to move down, which means that I can actually close this, even though this is packed out like quite a bit. And sometimes I found that these buttons are a little finicky. So thankfully there is side access to this bag as well. So I would open the side access, button it from the inside, and then re-zip this. So I will show you how to do that. You most likely will not have this much trouble with this part. It's really mostly because I am weak and I have no muscle. So if you have less stuff in here or you have more muscles than me, which both of those things probably will be true, you shouldn't have as much problems with buttoning these buttons. I have a couple of extra stuff here that I have not fit in my bag, and I will show you where I put them when I was actually traveling. I ended up putting all of my retainer stuff basically in one separate compartment with my laundry sheets and my pills, just because it was a little bit easier for my brain to have it compartmentalized like that. So when you open the hatch, the main compartment from the top side, you have access to those two bottom zippers that were on the bottom when we opened it from the other side, obviously. So that's where I put all of this stuff because they're mostly flat and I wanted them out of the way. I put my face masks in there, all my retainer stuff, my rubber bands, and my pills. And as you can see, like, we still have some room in here, you know? And then I just put my mouse in here just because I wanted it separate from everything else. You can do a lot better at organizing than I do. But my main goal is, like, I just need to pack as much as I humanly can inside the smallest space. And the less organization, the less pockets means that there's actually more internal space in this bag versus if I had all of those pockets. So it's a pro and a con. I just prefer this type of style of packing. And then I had this clipped here on the side. Now for the final part of this, let's see what I was able to fit inside of the Chimera sling bag, which is what I brought on the plane. Okay, so as you can see, not too much going on here. Basically, a little bit of entertainment, a little bit of music, a little bit of sleeping stuff, a little bit of the Kindle thing. When I was at my seat, I grabbed my neck pillow and I think my laptop so that I could type a little bit of the scripts that I was gonna work on during the flight. And then I was able to stow my laptop in the seat pocket in front of me when I wasn't using it. But this is essentially what was in my Chimera. And then once I got to my destination, I would basically use the Chimera as a dump pocket if I wasn't using it. And that's essentially where all this stuff ended up living during my trip. We went on our trip, and now it's time to do a little bit of retrospective thinking about what I could have left behind. These are all of the items that I barely used on the trip, which I would deem them very worthy of possibly not bringing them the next time. Starting over here, my tit covers. I think I was a little bit paranoid with people seeing my nipples. I think that how uncomfortable these are, especially if you're doing any type of exertion. Not that I was, but in Hawaii, it's very hot. So it just got very uncomfortably hot. It's like as if something is on your skin and it's not being able to breathe, which is how my boobs felt. And that was more uncomfortable than maybe possibly somebody else being uncomfortable about seeing my nipples. So I ended up not wearing them. So I probably won't bring them next time unless I am actually going to go out to a fancy dinner where nipples are probably not in the dress code and I need to cover them to be PC and all that stuff. My face masks, I never ended up using. The two that I brought, two that came back, they don't take up very much space, so it's a maybe for next time, but I just didn't end up doing as much as I thought. A lot of some more like casually sitting around and walking and strolling and not necessarily like hiking up mountains, so didn't end up feeling like my face needed them. My tote bag, I normally carry this all the time with me. The reason why I didn't end up using it was because specifically when we were in Asia and I bought stuff, they ended up giving me like really nice bags to put my stuff in. So I didn't end up needing an extra bag. The Peak Design packing cube that I use also has a slip pocket in the back where you can put your dirty laundry inside of it. Because of that, I didn't use this as a laundry bag either. My two toiletry items that I didn't end up using at all were my tweezers and my nail clippers. Again, very much probably gonna bring them still on my next trip because really out of all the things, this is the smallest thing. It doesn't take up any space and they're nice to have. Over here in my clothing section of things that I didn't really end up using, I never ended up wearing these pants at all. These were my nice pants just in case we're gonna go out to a fancy dinner. This jacket is really thin. Because it was white, I just immediately got it dirty, which was my fear of getting it in the first place. But white does look really nice. So when it is clean, it looks good. So I will keep it around just so that I have it to, dress up a shirt. But I didn't end up wearing it as much as I thought I would be just because I was so scared of getting it dirty. My beanie, I never ended up wearing it. For electronics, I have my Kindle, my mouse, and my extension cord. For the extension cord, it was really because I didn't know what the situation was gonna be like in all of our accommodations and if outlets were gonna be within reach. They ended up being within reach, so I didn't need this. But again, it's just kind of like preparing for the worst case scenario. Possibly next time I'm not gonna bring it just because it's as small of a extension cord that you can possibly buy. but it's still really big in comparison to all the other stuff that I own. So maybe I'll just risk it for the biscuit next time and not end up bringing that. The mouse, it's a nice mouse. You know, they do sell a smaller travel size version of this that's maybe, 30% smaller. I like the ergonomics of this mouse, but I think what I like even more than any of those is just saving space and weight. Not to say this is the heaviest, biggest thing in the world, because it's not. I have larger mice than this, but I think I'd rather just deal with the possible unpleasantness of using my finger on the trackpad for my laptop if I do end up bringing my laptop next time. The Kindle, I ended up really only using it on the plane, and even at that, only for a couple of hours. On my flight there and back, I was trying to stay up for the entire flight to try to get adjusted to the time zone difference. It ended up working really well. I didn't feel as much jet lag as I have in the past when I'm traveling to Asia, but this is like kind of one of those things, like the Kindle, the laptop. I would even put a Switch in that category. Like, you just think that you're gonna have all this free time to relax and entertain yourself with all these things, and you just won't. I mean, you might have the time, but you're not gonna have the mental capacity to do any of these things. When I got to the hotel room every day, I was just so exhausted because you're in a new place, you wanna walk around, you wanna do stuff, you're just like constantly being bombarded with new information and stimulus. Like, I didn't need to also like distract myself while I was in my hotel room. I really just wanted to zone out. So that's essentially where I would put the Kindle in. I didn't bring my Switch for the very same reason, because every time I bring my Switch, I never end up using it. So I probably won't end up bringing my Kindle on my next trip. If anything I really wanna read, I can probably read on my phone. I can probably download the ebook there and then just do that. My phone already is doing so much, so let's just add another task on that list. My neck pillow, I kind of already talked about it a little bit. I only used it on the plane. It is a bigger neck pillow on the market, but it was allegedly supposed to be really comfortable and all that. I found it just to be extremely hot, and because I was trying to not sleep on the plane, I ended up not using it for those reasons either. My last item, again, it kind of goes into this whole like just in case thing. I need to bring extra glasses with me just in case the ones that I'm wearing somehow break or I lose them. I need to have an extra pair, and really the only way to protect them is with a hard-shelled case. I kind of hate it though because it takes up so much freaking space, but I kind of think this is one of those like things that I just have to deal with as a person who wears glasses. So that's all the stuff that I ended up bringing, which is on the chopping block for stuff that I probably won't bring again, maybe. So we'll see how that goes in our next section. All right, so we're at the part now where I'm gonna tell you all the things that I really won't bring next time. Oh, starting off with this duffel bag, I've already kind of spoken about it, but yeah, I think that next time if I feel very inclined to have an extra bag on me, just in case, I'm gonna pack a packable bag. I didn't wanna buy one because, I was trying to like just use what I had, but this obviously is not a very packable bag. It took up so much space in my Peak Design bag, and honestly, like if I didn't bring this and I had the extra space in my Peak Design, I probably could have just used the extra space plus the extendable zipper to get all of the souvenirs that I thought that I needed to fit in this bag. The other thing that I'm not bringing next time is my Chimera bag. I don't even have it with me anymore. I ended up selling it. I tried it out, I didn't like it. I think it was just like a little bit too bulky and cumbersome to use from a functionality standpoint. I think I just prefer lighter, a little bit more malleable sling bags specifically. We already talked about all this stuff, but I'm adding underwear on that. I ended up bringing 7 pairs of underwear. I really think that I could have just gotten away with 5 pairs. Not saying that the underwear takes up a lot of space. When you're trying to one bag, it's really like everything needs to have a very specific purpose, ideally multi-purpose, so that you're maximizing all the space that you have. The last thing that I'm gonna talk about today is all the goodies that I brought back. So let's check that out. If you wanna see everything that we brought back from Hawaii, we have a whole video on it, so you can check that out right over here. But we're gonna start off with the tiny stuff first. And first and foremost, I brought home a ton of mints. And I don't know what they put in these mints. I ended up getting them from like a 7-Eleven when I was in Japan last time. And I was like, holy moly, these mints are fantastic. They're super small. They're like Tic Tac size, even smaller than that. And they're really strong. Like so strong that sometimes I get a little teary-eyed a little bit when I eat one of them. So I ended up picking up a bunch of them because they're only like $1 in Japanese convenience stores. You can find these here in the US. Some of my Asian markets end up selling these and they're like triple the price. I just ended up buying an entire box. Man, I love these mints so much. Okay, next item on my list, I ended up buying a cashmere sweater from Uniqlo. You can buy things from Uniqlo in the United States as well. I wanted an extra layer on those colder nights. I wore my shirt and then I wore this sweater and then I wore my Arc'teryx jacket and that kept me like super warm throughout everything. And it was a little bit cheaper to get it at the Uniqlo in Japan because of the exchange rate. So I ended up picking it up. Okay, now we're gonna get into some really cool stuff. So this is a bag from the North Face white label. And if you don't know about the white label and the purple label of the North Face, they are actually owned by a different company than the one that you see in the US. So they have a lot of different unique streetwear styles that like use the activewear kind of tactical fabrics that the North Face has. And they're also exclusive to Korea and Japan. So white label is only in Korea, purple label is only in Japan. So, you know, when in Rome, right? So again, the exchange rate was just super great. I think it was like 1.6, you know, to $1 for us. It just ended up being very cheap. Like I think this was 99,000 won. So like 50, 60 bucks or something like that. Like really not too expensive for what it is. But I ended up picking this up. This is like, I would say a weekender duffel, but like a really nice one. Like again, I'm not really a super big fan of white because of how easy it is to, you know, get dirty, but this is the kind of bag that you're gonna be not super rough with, but I just thought the cream white just looked so good. And I have a bunch of stuff in this bag. Let's bring out my bags of stuff. This is a very interesting bag that I ended up picking up from an outdoor store in Japan. It's actually a convertible bag, so you can use it in this style where, you know, you have all this space. Like this is probably at least 15 liters. You know, there's not any organization. It's just a dump pocket of stuff, but it converts to a sling, guys. And so I've never seen this design before, and that is the entire reason why I bought it. And so I'm gonna show you how easy it is to switch it, and boom, you have a sling bag, guys. And like, it comes with its own strap. You think that because it's got this strap, you're gonna have to do this thing where, you know, if you wanna use it in backpack mode, you're gonna have to take off the strap from the sling and then readjust it or re-clip it to use it in the backpack. No, the backpack straps are still in here. And it's really light. Like, so this in sling mode, you get this and it's like 5 liters. And then it turns into like a 15-liter bag. And guess what, guys? This was $20. The specific use case that I would use this in is if I'm going somewhere out and about and I have a jacket on, and then I don't want the jacket on anymore, then I convert this into a backpack, put the jacket inside of that, plus, you know, maybe I have an umbrella or whatever. But I just think that the design of this is really, really cool. And that's why I bought it. And it was only 20 bucks. So there you go. All right, let's see what else is in this bag. I have the Mystery Ranch District 2, I believe is what it's called, but this is basically like a fanny pack sling combo thing. It is a 2-liter bag. I really liked it because I love this style of opening because, you know, you can see everything that's in this pocket visually, you know, and I liked the specific overall style of the bag because it kind of reminded me of, you know, rock climbers, they have those little pouches that they use for their powders for their hands. Kind of reminded me of that. So it looks pretty good as a waist belt. You have a little small quick access pocket in the front, again, gusseted. And you have a key leash, which is so cool. And then you also have the coveted back pocket for your phone. I love having a security pocket like that. And yeah, it's fully adjustable with this quick thumb loop thing. You can easily make the strap longer and shorter while it's on your body. A little bit more on the outdoorsy tactical side of things, but that's kind of my vibe. So I really like the orange interior colorway. This bag comes in a bunch of different colors. Next, we have this bag, which is a Purple Label North Face bag, which means I got it in Japan. You know, I think that especially for, you know, bags in Japan or other companies that make bags, they always have like a Tokyo style backpack, which is basically, it has these two handles on the top normally of the bag. It's a very minimal bag. There's metal hardware right here and on these backpack straps, but there's not a whole lot of organization inside. It's really just a massive dump pocket. I would consider this to be in the 20-ish, 22 liter range maybe. As you can see, it has the Purple Label on the back. This is the only zipper in the entire bag. I think a lot of people that have these styles of bags, they also either do external carry. They'll clip stuff on the outside of the bag to kind of get to smaller things because, you know, the internal main compartment is so big and empty. And then you have a quick access front pocket, so you can also use that for your tinier stuff. But the way that this bag works is it's basically like a glorified drawstring bag that has a little bit more character to it. So this is kind of what it would look like. It's a little frumpy and it's gonna pack out with whatever you have in it. You got your water bottle pockets. It also has cinch compression inside here, which is really awesome. So you can know that your water bottle is secure. It's a limited bag just because of the Purple Label nature of it. So there you go. That was my one Japanese style Purple Label bag that I bought. I ended up going to the Masterpiece store in Japan. Man, a lot of their bags are very expensive. Not to say that they aren't worth the money, but my bag was getting full. I just really like the way that it looks. I'm kind of really into heritage vibes. I think the idea is that it's basically a key ring. So you would put all your keys on here and then you would clip this onto your belt. What I end up doing is I just have it clipped onto my bag just as an accessory to look cool. But that's what I bought from Masterpiece. And I have a couple of small goodies here that I bought from the white label North Face store in Korea. I don't know about you, but I just think some like tiny bags are really cute. And this is what I mean about like external carry. Like this would be a really cute bag to basically hook onto this and have really quick access to, you know, some coins or something like that. Or maybe you have all of your cards in there for your wallet and then you just kind of whip it out and then you open up your little baby bag that's attached to your actual bag. I just kind of like that aesthetic and I think that's a little bit of an Asian thing maybe, but I ended up buying these because again, they are limited. You can only buy them in Korea. Really nothing in here. It's just a baby pocket. It's got a little bit of a drawstring thing here in the front, but I think it's just for looks than anything. I wouldn't actually use that to cinch anything to this bag. This is a packable tote. It kind of looks like one of the North Face bags that you would buy. It has a key ring, so you would again attach it to your bag. But inside is a tote, which is so cool. So you kind of have to do a little bit of origamiing to get it out. And I'm not going to re-roll this on camera because it's gonna take way too long. But, you know, it's a pretty nice tote bag for what you get. It's got like really nice nylon webbing for the handles. And then it's just, you know, a tote. So I think that you can buy tote bags that are a lot smaller than this. This is also actually pretty thick of a material, which I really enjoy. It means that it's gonna be durable. It is a huge advertisement for the North Face. They had this in a bunch of different colors. I think this was like $35, $40. I believe you can buy this at any North Face, don't quote me on that, but very cool. And then I bought this from the white label store in Korea. It's again, one of those little things you would attach to your other bag. But it kind of reminded me of a Pokeball, which was kind of cool, but I don't even really know what you'd put in here. Maybe your AirPods, you know, maybe 2 pennies. But I just thought that the enclosure was very cool. I like that it's a hard shell case. Sometimes these things, like, I just buy them because they give me joy. And if nothing else, if this was just empty and it was just on a bag of mine, I would get joy from looking at it. And, you know, maybe that's worth 19,000 won. I went to Korea, so I bought a ton of face stuff. And so I'm gonna show you everything that I ended up buying. Not to say that I'm an expert in like face routines and all that, but you know who I think is an expert on that? I think the Koreans are. So I ended up buying these 2 bags of face masks. I think Korean face masks are just some of the best you can buy. They were on sale, that's why I bought so many of them. It was like a buy one, get one kind of thing. They are gonna last for a couple years, that's at least when they expire. So I was like, oh, pretty good deal. So I ended up bringing that home. And then this is, you know, my skincare routine that I actually use right now. And so I'll put it in the order that I actually do it in to kind of give you guys an idea if you are interested in skincare at all. I can actually do this now without looking at even what they are. So, okay, I didn't do any research on this brand prior to this trip. The only reason why I ended up going with them is because they actually did a free analysis of my skin and like all of the specific problems that it had. Like you have blemishes, you have sunspots, all that kind of stuff. And then they were able to recommend me products very specific to my skin type. So because of that, that's why I bought all this stuff, and it is like way more complicated than what you most likely need. I'm just at this point in my life where I just want to start taking care of myself. You know, I don't want wrinkles and like all this other weird stuff to happen to my skin. So I figured that I would invest the money into it, but I'll just go through it all with you. So I have 2 cleansers here. I have an oil cleanser and I have a water-based cleanser. Didn't know you needed 2, but apparently that's what you should do if you're trying to really be good at it or whatever. You have your toner, and then all of this stuff is all the stuff specific for my skin type. So I can't recommend you to get this or that or whatever, but this is mostly for, I had sunspots, I have very oily skin, I had blemishes, so it was just trying to correct all of those problems that I had. So that's what this section of my skincare routine is. And then this part is the moisturizing part. Essentially, if you wanted to try to do this, basically gonna do a cleanser, a toner, and then a moisturizer. Like that's pretty much the most basic skincare routine that you can do. You're also supposed to be wearing sunscreen every day, which I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, I never wore sunscreen. So I'm definitely paying for it now, trying to just take care of my skin. I ended up investing in this and it's been working really well, I think. I feel like my skin is a lot smoother. Don't know if that's just a placebo or not, but you know, that's just been my experience with this brand. Again, I didn't do any research on them other than that, so I can't speak to really anything besides maybe that it works for me. Some of this is not carry-on compliant as far as like the liquid amount goes. So if you are asking me, Emerald, how did you fit all this stuff in your bag? I didn't. I ended up checking a bag on my way back. And last but not least, I bought this bag. You might have seen it in my top 10 travel accessories, whatever, that under $100. This is from a Japanese brand called A Shared Sense of Value. Man, I was just walking around, you know, in one of those malls and it caught my eye. I thought it just looked really freaking cool. And it was, you know, not that expensive. I think this ended up being around $200. I liked all of the leather accents. Again, I'm a huge fan of heritage style backpacks, so I think that the style of the bag was really up my alley. And it had a bunch of really unique features that I haven't seen on a bunch of other bags. So to go over some of them, like this really weird pocket in the front, it's supposed to hold your phone. This is supposed to be for your wired earphones to like wire it back up to you. We have on this side a USB-C out. So you have an internal compartment where you can put your external battery or whatever and then have your phone also hang out in this pocket. You have a super cushy back panel with this like neoprene kind of texture. I felt like this harness system was super comfortable to carry. You have a back laptop compartment. Unfortunately, this is a little bit too small to fit a 16-inch laptop. I think if you have a 14-inch, it should be fine. Here's my 16-inch laptop. And then as you can see, like it just doesn't have enough clearance to like go in. But if you look at it, like, I mean, it would be busting at the seams, right? But it technically could fit, I think. My laptop does fit in the main compartment, which I will show you. It does have this rain guard flap, which I'm not a super huge fan of, just from a functionality standpoint. It does make opening up the main compartment a little bit harder. We have a pretty spacious main compartment, a little bit of a back panel organization, a zippered pocket, slip pocket with a Velcro attachment. We have a key ring loop over here. On the front pocket, we have 2 slip pockets here. And then here in the front, again, you know how I love gusseted style openings of compartments. I just think it's really great to be able to see all of your stuff so well. It has a really thin sleeve just if you wanted to compartmentalize this pocket. And then on the front, you have one quick access pocket, another pocket on the other side. And these pockets don't share space. So basically the pockets are like this. So really great again for compartmentalizing all of your stuff. I was able to fit my Sony over-the-head headphones in this quick access pocket, which was super awesome. You have an expandable water bottle holder, and it also has like an interior lining of like basically what you would find in coolers, like a cooler lining. And then the final really cool thing about this bag is that it's expandable. So not only do you have like a compression strap on this side, but yeah, if I zip it over like this, like wha-bam, it goes from like, you know, a 20-liter bag to 24-liter bag. So I just really like a lot of things about this bag. Literally the only thing I don't like is that my laptop doesn't fit in here. And that's been the one reason why I haven't used this as my EDC everyday carry bag. But I love it because it's so small and like it can expand and it has the type of vibe that I like, and it wasn't that expensive, and it's also made out of really awesome materials. So can't say anything more positive about this bag. I'll hopefully do a full review on it, but yeah, that's your sneak peek on the A Shared Sense of Value bag. If you can get it, you're gonna have to pay some import fees or whatever to get it from Japan, but totally worth it, I think. I think the quality is awesome, and it's super great to see really different types of features on a bag that you don't see in the US. So that's my little surprise for you. All right, that's gonna do it for this one. It's always fun to mix things up, and honestly, I really like doing these packing retrospectives after a trip. It gives me a really good chance to let everything digest and figure out what actually worked. I think taking some time to categorize your gear, what are your must-haves, what are your things that you could do without, and what are things that you should have left behind is a really great way to become a better packer, especially if you're trying to one-bag it and go minimalist. For this trip though, yeah, it was kind of borderline, but most of you are probably not gonna be in a situation like me where you're gonna have zero idea about what you're gonna be doing on your trip. So hopefully that means that your packing list will be a little bit more dialed in than what mine was. But that's gonna do it for this one. If you enjoyed this content and you wanna help support the channel, I have Amazon affiliate links for all of the products that I talked about today. If you wanna buy something using those links, I do get a small commission at no extra cost to you. But if that's not your vibe, you can still help out by liking, commenting, and sharing this video with a friend. It helps give good vibes out to the YouTube algorithm so that more people can find and enjoy this content. And now I wanna hear from you. Do you have a trip planned for 2025? Have you figured out your packing situation yet? Let me know down in the comments. My name is Emerald from Emerald's Daily Carry. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.